Neil Funk, Jimmy G, buckets, gets buckets. Oh my goodness, give me the hot sauce, Neil Funk, give me the hot sauce.
What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs. Woo!
Let me step back and kiss myself.
Welcome into a brand new edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. Mark Shanowski, Tim Kelley standing by in our beautiful Sriracha studios here in Palatine, Illinois. Stacey is joining us from his home, and we're kind of in the middle of a lot of different seasons that are passing by, Tim. We've got Summer League wrapped up for the Bulls. NFL training camps are open. We got the British Open this week. Baseball's going strong, and everybody's kind of waiting for the next big thing, to happen in sports.
Which LeBron's going to probably tell us this week.
Hey, we're lucky. we're all just lucky that today's not the day he's retiring. That's
lucky.
what he said in the speech,
So
right, Stacey? You enjoyed that speech, didn't you? The most humble man on the planet, LeBron James.
Listen, man, LeBron just makes it so hard not to like him. Some of the stuff that he says is like so cringy, and it's like you don't have to go that route to prove your greatness. That ESPY award, I keep going back to that ESPY award where, listen, you want to give him a Lifetime Achievement Award for, his great career and all that. I'm all for that. Bring the family up there. That was a really cool moment, But then you just kind of just do a wet blanket on the moment by saying, I'm coming back. It was like the decision, too. I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. I'm going to stay in L.A. and play another year, which we already knew, because you've already made it clear that you want to play with your son. So he just makes it hard. You just don't hear the great players doing those kind of things, drawing more attention to themselves. It'll be interesting to see how they work out this year. They really upgraded their roster, Mark. They got a good team. They got a really good team, better than I think they had last year. But I still don't think they have enough to dethrone the Denver Nuggets. I just don't.
Yeah, when you look at what the Lakers have done in free agency this year, they stole Gabe Vincent, who was outstanding in the last season's playoffs. They get him at a decent rate in the mid-level exception. Then they bring in guys on the minimum contracts, guys like Jackson Hayes, an intriguing young pivot man. You got Cam Reddish, a forward who's bounced around a little bit, but everyone knows he's got great physical talent. They pick up Taurean Prince, a veteran wing guy. That's going to be a team that is going to challenge Denver and Phoenix in the West, don't you think, Stace?
Yeah, I think, Denver's done well throughout the draft. They do a good job of drafting guys and developing guys. They got some pretty good picks this year. They played well in the summer league. They're going to be hurt by losing, Bruce Brown. That was a huge loss for them because he's a guy that's a jack of all trades. He can play 3 or 4 positions. You can plug him in anywhere. Jeff Green, the savvy veteran, comes in, plays the stretch 4 position, can knock down threes, rebound the basketball for you, gives you experience. He doesn't have to play a lot of minutes to be effective. Losing those 2 guys are really, really huge. But they've got Christian Brown's going to probably play a lot more, did a great job in the playoffs. So I expect his minutes to go up. So if they can stay healthy, because, that's always big when you're trying to repeat, is to stay healthy. If they can stay healthy, they got a shot to repeat.
And we look at what's going on in Phoenix. Of course, they made the big news early in the offseason by acquiring Bradley Beal. And then we thought, well, how are they going to fill out the roster? They've got the 4 huge contracts. All they have left is minimum contracts. Just reading down the list of some of the guys they added at bargain discount rates. They brought back Damian Lee and Josh Okogie, a couple of wing guys who can play for them. They got Jordan Goodwin from the Washington Wizards, Drew Eubanks, a big man. And then just this week, they brought in Bol Bol on a minimum contract. And Bol Bol, Stacey, at times looked really good with the Magic.
Yeah, I was hoping that we would find a way to bring him into Chicago. When you start looking at, Wembanyama and the kid in Oklahoma City, Chet, he does the same thing as those guys. He does the same thing those guys do. And he's been playing in the league longer. He's not established, but when he's getting minutes, he's doing the very same things that you rave about from these other 7'3", 4 guys. He's got good skills. He can play the 3, play stretch 4. I still I don't know, man. I mean, Phoenix doesn't scare you. They got a lot of scoring, but who's going to defend? And you don't know what they're going to do with Ayton. You don't know what his mindset's going to be, playing with those guys. He's going to see a lot of single double coverages, and is he strong enough? Is he strong enough to play against, Jokic? I mean, that you're gearing up for Jokic for the next 3 years. I don't care what anybody says. You're gearing up for Denver and what they're doing. Their core group, Mark, is going to be there for the next 3 or 4 years. And Jokic is a big part of what they do. Jamal Murray, and I've said this about Jamal when he went down. When he's healthy, he's a great complement to Joker. He is. Inside, outside, great pick and roll, in and out, dart dribbles, hits big shots, loves big shots. I mean, that's the team you're going to look for in the West. They could be a San Antonio. Have San Antonio win a championship. They don't win another one for like 3 or 4 years. They win another one in 3 years. They could go that route, because you've seen it that way. It's hard to repeat in this league. It's hard. It's hard to three-peat. There's only a few teams do it, But I expect Denver to be there for at least 3 or 4 years.
We always appreciate all the people who are following us during our live taping of the podcast on our YouTube channel. And one of the chat members, Ben Feldman, asks, if these players stay healthy, Stacey, who is going to have the better career, Chet Holmgren or Victor Wembanyama?
Ooh, I tell you what, Chet Holmgren in the summer league showed me something.
Yeah.
Like he's a guy not only can play like a small player, but he plays big too, even though he doesn't have the body size. Like he's not afraid to bang. He's not afraid to get in there and mix it up. He's not afraid to go block shots. He is a legit rim protector. And he's on the offensive end, he is a legit threat to take you off the dribble. He's a legit threat to shoot the three. He's a legit threat to roll, dive to the basket, and dunk the basketball. So he, at all levels, as young as he is, and him missing all of last year, he is going to be a problem for people this year. Oklahoma City might be the team that no one's talking about that might sneak up and catch some people off guard. And, with SGA, who had a breakout season this year, don't sleep on them, and don't sleep on Minnesota. Minnesota is a team you need to worry about, too, if you're in the Western Conference. No one's talking about them. But as far as the longevity to his question, who's going to have the best career, I think they're going to be parallel. I think they're going to be, it's going to be up and down. I think, Victor he's in a organization with a coach that's going to get the most out of them. You already know, they're already talking about load management with him. He's 19 years old. They're talking about load management. How insane is that? But listen, it worked for them. It worked for Tim Duncan. It's worked for the Spurs in general. They were the ones who kind of started this. And they're gonna really watch his minutes because they know he's not physically ready. He's physically gifted, but he's the strength of the NBA. When he said that overseas basketball is a lot more tougher than the NBA. Oh, brother. Hey, man, you were just playing in the summer league, bro. Like, don't think that that's how the NBA is. You're playing against rookies and free agents and guys, 3 or 4 years out the league that are trying to make the league. When that October rolls around and it's the training camp and it's the regular season start, you're going to see how difficult it is because he faced no one in that summer league like Joker or Karl Anthony Towns or LeBron. He's faced none of those kind of guys. So he's going to go from like playing with a bunch of Hyundais to playing with Ferraris and Sprinter buses and all these big time players.
The business of basketball is pretty much winding down for this offseason. We're still waiting to see when Damian Lillard gets traded to Miami and what kind of package Portland gets back. We're still waiting to see if James Harden gets his wish and gets traded to the LA Clippers. Their general manager said that they're not going to move him unless they get a good return, a package that can keep them as a contender, because now they're afraid, Stacey, with some of the comments that Joel Embiid made in a recent interview, kind of cryptic about he wants to win a championship, whether it's Philadelphia or somewhere else.
Well, what's happening right now is the star players are dictating where they want to go. And the NBA and the owners are going to have to get control. Because listen, if you're Portland and Damian Lillard's given you all these years, he wanted to stay there. That they paid him every single time it was time for his contract. They gave him max dollars. He wanted to stay there. Now, his idea of staying there is if you're going to build a team that I can compete. They had a team that competed. I think they went to the Western Conference Finals once in the last 4 years with him. They had a team. And what they should have did was they had the formula of that team who got to the Western Conference Finals, that all they had to do was tinker with a couple of pieces, and maybe you have a championship team. You had C.J. McCollum, who's one of the best two-way guards in the league. He was on your roster. You got rid of him. So, you can see Damian Lillard being upset about it, but at the same time, this is a business. I can't just give you away for a bag of, Doritos.
Right.
It just doesn't work that way. If we give our marquee player away, we may not get equal value for what he's worth, because he's an aging star with 35, I think. But we got to get something that helps our franchise too. We want to help you, Dame. We want to help you. We want to send you where you want to go. But if Miami doesn't have the pieces that we want that can help us, fill holes that you have left for us, because you lose a guy like that, that's like losing, three superstars. You might not ever recover from that. It may take you 10 years to get your franchise back to where it's competitive. So you got to do what's best for the organization. Yeah, you want to help Dame out. You want to send him to Miami, but Miami has no pieces. So you got to look for a team that you can partner with, whether it's a 3-team trade that you get other players involved, or I got to go somewhere else and say, Dame, look, this guy's close to winning a championship. This team is close to winning a championship. How about we send you there? They got more assets. Yeah, it's a cold weather. You're not going to be able to walk around in shorts and flip-flops all day. But, hey, the object is not to be walking around, in Miami in December with flip-flops and shorts on. The object is to win a championship, and then when the championship's over, you can go anywhere in the world and walk around in flip-flops and shorts.
Yeah, the Bulls were subject to the NBA rumor mill earlier this week. There was a report out of Los Angeles. Dan Woike, who covers the team, he's a beat writer for one of the LA papers, said that the Bulls have emerged as a threat to sign Christian Wood. Now, Christian Wood is a guy who's been on 7 teams in 8 years. He has a reputation of being kind of a guy that doesn't really focus in on his job. He's got tremendous physical talent, but he doesn't always pay attention to what the coach is saying and the game plan and the defensive concepts and all the rest of it. So he's bounced from team to team, but he's a guy 6'10". He can play the 4 and the 5. He's a career 38% three-point shooter. The Bulls have that $10.2 million disabled player exception that they got from the league because of the Lonzo Ball injury situation. But if they would offer a big chunk of that to Christian Wood, Stacey, that would put them into the luxury tax. What do you think about the possibility of Christian Wood coming to the Bulls?
You know what? I like Christian Wood. I think he could be a good addition. But I don't know. I mean, it's not my money. I mean,
right.
Of course, I'm going to try to build a winning. I'm going to put a winner out there, but it's not my money. And you got to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth going over the salary? If you're going to go over the salary cap, I want to go over the salary cap to a guy that I think who's younger, a guy that like the PJ Washington kid. I know he's restricted, I think, with
Charlotte can match any offer. For
Charlotte
PJ
can
Washington.
match, but they just signed Miles Bridges.
Right.
And they just gave LaMelo Ball that big contract. So, and they got new owners. They may not want to spend that. So, maybe you try to find a way to swing that deal, because I'd rather have PJ Brown as far as talent-wise. You know what you're going to get out of P.J. Brown. He's a stretch
No,
forward.
you don't
He's
want
gonna
P.J.
rebound.
Brown. He's 50 years old. You want P.J.
Not
Washington?
Yeah. Way to go, Mark. Way to come in.
I got to backstop you, my friend, you know?
Yeah. I'd take PJ because the fact that he can shoot the ball, he's a stretch forward, he's going to rebound, he plays defense. He always torched us. Like I remember the first time I saw him after he came from Kentucky. I was like, they said he only shot like 5 3-pointers or something in college. And then he like shot 6 and knocked down 5 or something against us. And every game I kept seeing this kid and he was always open and he was knocking down threes. And I'm like, wow. So I've watched his career and I've watched how he's developed into a kind of a stretch, four, can play a little 3 in a bigger lineup, but he can shoot the basketball. He can rebound. He can put it on the floor. I thought he did a little bit with what Miles Bridges was doing for them when Miles was there, because Miles wasn't there. So he got all the minutes and he got a chance to show that, hey, I'm not that bad. I may not be the athlete that Miles Bridges is, but I can do some of the same things. And I think he would be a good pickup.
Yeah, he'd be tougher to
get.
get.
If you can afford him.
He'd be tough
if you can afford him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be tough to get.
But with the Wood thing, you look at the Bulls roster. You got Vooch and you got Andre Drummond as your centers. But at that power forward spot, really nobody fits the mold of a power forward. Patrick Williams is playing that spot, but he feel more comfortable on the wing. They just drafted the Jordan Phillips kid, but he's only 6'7", and he's only 19 years old. Torrey Craig, the free agent brought in, is 6'7". I think Christian Wood would give them something they don't have, Stacey, a stretch 5 who could bring the defense out and could also play some power forward alongside of Vooch.
Yeah, Wood, I remember Wood in Detroit. That's where he got the contract, and then they traded him. They traded him to Houston. He got the contract. And he really played well in spurts. And I said, okay, this kid is really good. Because I saw him in Detroit when he was in Detroit. And I thought he was a good young player. And he dunks everything around the rim, runs the floor. And then once he got the contract, he kind of like, I've arrived, per se. And it wasn't the same kind of hunger and the same kind of attitude to be better. And then once you get a bad reputation in the NBA, Mark, whether it's warranted or not, it sticks with you. If you're a guy that doesn't work hard in practice, it sticks with you. If you're a guy who argues with the coach in the front office and you're constantly a bad teammate, it sticks with you. I go to that Andre Drummond. He did an interview, I think, with some kids earlier in the summer. And he was talking about, coming off the bench and the attitude that you have to have when you expect to play minutes and you don't get them. You have to be a good teammate. You have to be a good person. You got to cheer for your teammates when you're on the bench and let them know you got their back. If I'm sitting over there pouting and worrying about my minutes and not focus on what we're doing as a team, I don't help the team. And a lot of guys don't have that attitude. This is a league where you're seeing guys getting $100, $200 million, and that sticks out to these guys. They're playing for that. They're not playing. You look at Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves was a walk-on, basically. He came, he went through the Lakers G League, played through that, got a 2-way contract, then signed, and now look at him. He just signed a $50 million deal. Jalen Brunson, a second-round pick. Jalen Brunson, second-round pick. I think maybe 30s to 40.
Yeah.
Second-round pick. Parlay that into a $200 million contract. Like, if you handle your business and you work hard, good things happen. Be a good teammate. Come to work on time. Open your mind to do different things. If your coach wants you to do this, do it. Don't say, I don't play that position. That's not my game. Do what the coach asks, play, and the ultimate goal is winning. If you win and the team wins, everybody's going to prosper.
Well, Stacey, the whole restricted free agency thing can be kind of tough because a lot of times guys don't get substantial offers because teams that are making that offer tie their money up for a couple of days when they know that the team the guy's coming from can always match the contract offer. And I think that's a situation that we see with P.J. Washington and also with Ayodeji, who the Bulls made the $5 million qualifying offer. He and his agent went out in the marketplace looking for a better deal, a long-term deal with more financial stability, and they haven't been able to find it. What is your take on what's going on with Ayo, and do you think he'll be back in a Bulls uniform next season?
Well, Ayo is a good player. He's a good player. Does he have to work on some things? Yeah, he does. He's a big guard. He can play either position. I think, honestly, he's more of a combo guard. You like to label guys. Is he a point? Is he a two? Okay? When he's not either one of them, if he doesn't really play either one of those positions like excellent, then he's a combo guard because he can play some point sometimes and he can play two guard. If he would focus, if Ayo would focus and they would put him in this role where he's a defensive stopper, where he's a guy that comes up and turns up the heat, full court pressure, guard bigger guys, and he does these things. He gets through screens. And then focus this summer. This summer should have been focused just on shooting, because we talk about Kobe White's ball handling coach. Man, if any of those young guards were on that bench and saw Kobe the last 2 or 3 years and seen how he's gotten better with his ball handling, you should have made a phone call. Whatever his name is, I don't remember his name, but they should have called him and stand in that gym and take thousands of jump shots every day, from the corner, from the top, to the point where when you walk in the gym, it doesn't matter where you're standing. You know that I can get this shot and I'm going to knock it down. He needed to really refocus on his shooting and not lose confidence, because confidence, there's some players, Mark, that come in this league super confident, and they play for a coach that allows them to have that confidence. There's other kids who come in the league, they have confidence. His first year, he had a chip on his shoulder. His first year, he wanted to let everybody know, I should have been a first-round pick. That's how he played the whole year. He went after every player that was drafted in front of him, from Cade Cunningham all the way down. He had great games against those. Second year, comes back, he doesn't have that fire that he has. That's something you have to keep in your belly the whole time you're in this league. You have to keep that fire. You got to look up there and count all those guys who were drafted 37, or how many people were drafted in front of him. That's your motivation every single day you wake up. And if you're Billy Donovan, that's what you need to be telling them every day. Your motivation, Ayo, is that there's 37 guys that's pick in front of you. That's something that's something that has to motivate you every single day, because motivation sometimes can only get you so far. But sometimes you have to create motivation, a la Michael Jordan. Oh, I got cut off my junior high school team. That motivated me to be the greatest player. You got to do those kind of things. You got to do those kind of things to give you that little extra boost. I think Ayo could be, a Marcus Smart type player. Guy that comes in, plays tough defense, runs your offense, tough-minded, can hit some shots when he's open. I think he can be that type of player. And I think he's going to be a good player in this league. I like him. I love his attitude. He's going to be very important to a team that likes to push the pace. Because if you watch his games, when he's in the open court, he's one of the best on this team besides Zach, that just gets to where he wants to go and he's able to get to the rim and finish. So he's much better in an open floor, up-tempo game. So, I hope they bring him back, because I love the kid, but I don't make those decisions.
Yeah, because as you know, Stacey, it's always a numbers game in the NBA. When you look at their depth chart, you've got Zach LaVine, Javon Carter, Kobe White, Alex Caruso. They'd all be ahead of Ayo going into camp. And then you look at, they've still got the G League MVP, Carlik Jones, on a non-guaranteed contract. And you got Javon Freeman-Liberty, who turned a lot of heads by averaging 21 points in the Summer League. So you got all these guards. AK and Mark Eversley might be sitting looking at their whiteboard in their offices going, hey, we don't have room for Ayo anymore.
Well, that's what it seems like. And right now, if you look on paper, if you do add Ayo, you are a very small basketball team again. You're going to be playing a lot of small ball. And that works sometimes, but it's not going to work in an 82-game season. You're going to need to play big some games. When the Denver Nuggets roll in, you can't play small ball against that team. When Giannis and Milwaukee rolls in, now they got both Lopez brothers. You can't come in and play small ball against that team. You can play small ball against teams like Miami, But even Boston, you look at your top teams, Embiid, you're going to have to roll some big dudes out there to guard these guys, or you're going to be giving up 50 pieces.
Well, last thing I want to cover before we move on to some football talk is, I don't know if Stacey, you've seen some of the win totals that have been coming down from the Las Vegas sports books. I saw 37.5, 36.5 for the Bulls. I mean, I'm not a gambler, but I would love to put the over on that. I think the Bulls are a lock to win at least 40 games.
Let me tell you something. First of all, like I would go on the over on that too. Okay. And the reason why I would, because, one, this team's going to have some pride about itself. They know after the second half of the year, the way they turned their season around, once Patrick Beverley got here and they were able to turn it, they were one of the hottest teams in the league in the second half. If you would have played that way in the beginning, you wouldn't have found yourself in a play-in game. You wouldn't have found yourself in the bottom half of the playoffs. You would have probably been up there in the top 5 if you would have played that way. So the key for this team this year, you got 3 All-Stars, 2 All-Stars and 1 former All-Star in Vooch, DeMar, and Zach. That right there, that threesome right there, and if you're Billy Donovan, you're bringing these guys in and you're sitting them down, and the first thing you're going to say is, there's no reason why we can't win 50 games with you 3 guys. No way. Without Zoe, you 3 guys, we should be able to get 50 games. How that's going to happen is your leadership, okay? Your leadership to come in every day in practice and give a legit effort every single day on the defensive end. You guys this year have to tighten up your defense. In order for us to get out of the play-ins and AC, you 3 guys can't let your guys kill you. You've got to give me a consistent effort defensively. And if you can do that and buy into team defense and where you're supposed to be on rotations, if you can do that, we got a shot to do something special. But it starts with those 3. And then the rest of the team, you got Kobe, you got Patrick Williams, Javon Carter, who's underrated. I think people don't know how good this kid is. And you're going to see how good he is this year. Defensively, his shooting, his toughness. It's Patrick Beverley, but younger, okay, and a better shooter. So that's what he's going to bring. Torrey Craig, people may not be excited about Torrey Craig. Oh, we could have got somebody else. Torrey Craig is annually been one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. There's a reason why Phoenix went back and got him and brought him back, because they knew they needed that kind of guy to go up against these teams in the Western Conference. The guy can defend. He played on Denver. He can defend. He can shoot the 3-ball. He's physical. I've heard DeMar DeRozan say that's the one guy he doesn't like guarding him.
Yeah.
And for an all-star caliber player to say that, and one thing I like about DeMar, he gives people their flowers. These are not, he doesn't say, oh, nobody can guard me. When I'm on, nobody can stop me. He flat out said that this is the one guy he hates playing against. Now I'm glad he's on my team. So you put that guy out there with defensively, you got Caruso defensively out there who's a lockdown defender, and Javon Carter, those 3 guys playing, and then you get your star players, Vooch, Zach, and DeMar giving you effort defensively. You got a shot to be pretty good.
Whispers, why would you bet that? It's 37.5 for Bulls win total.
Definitely over. I think you could throw some other things on top of that and clean up on the Bulls.
It's really interesting how Vegas sets these lines. Some of them are sucker bets, where they get people to come in and just based on reputation or superstars. But at that Bulls total, it really seems low.
And on most
books, that's real low.
The Bears are also dead last with only 6.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about the Bears. They report to training camp next Tuesday. We'll discuss what's going on with Justin Fields and the start of training camp in Lake Forest. But before we do that, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, our buddy Jeff Vukovich. When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure you contact the king of insurance, our friend, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich. You can reach him at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. And you heard Stacey clearing his throat because it is time. It is time for the Golden Pipes and the best jingle in the business.
Nationwide is on your side.
Someone's feeling better.
Stacey is feeling better. The Golden Pipes. The Golden Pipes are in great shape, and we're hoping.
Hey, seriously though, Mark, Mark, seriously, the Golden Pipes were a little rusty.
Yeah.
I got a little congestion in there, but you see how I switched it up. I went with a high note, and I came down with the Barry White.
That's right. The great performers always know how to make it work.
Well, did you see that he cleared out that phlegm with a quick shot of Scottie Pippen's digits?
That lets you where you
my
live.
throat's messed up now. That's probably my throat is because he burnt my vocal cords with the digits. It should be Scottie Pippen 911 because that's what you're gonna need to call if you're drinking.
We're going to take a little break here. Coming up next, we're going to chat some Bears football as they get ready to report to training camp as episode 138 of Gimme the Hot Sauce rolls on. We are back, episode 138 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. I had a chance to talk with a Bulls super fan yesterday, Jimmy from England. He's at UK Chicago Bulls. And he was here back in December. He went to like 3 Bulls games and 1 Windy City game. He's just a really interesting guy. We talked all about the Bulls and his trip, and he said it was a lifelong achievement to be able to get to do that trip. And he said that he wants to come back, but he promised his girlfriend that he would take. She wants to go to Uganda and check out some of the sites, some of the nature things. So he said he's got to do that first. So I said, hey. You got to keep the woman happy in your life.
Yeah, keep her happy home.
Off to Uganda.
That's right. And then he's hoping to get back to Chicago. But one of the things he said during the podcast, he gave you a shout-out, Whispers. He said that your Christopher Walken impersonation always hits home for him. He always gets a kick out of it.
Gee, that's nice. That's nice.
Well, they don't get a chance to see Christopher Walken over there a lot. I think they've seen 1 movie, so I think that's why he thinks Tim's impersonation is awesome.
It's just Joe Dirt that they get over there.
Oh my God!
Hey,
it really is. It's really good, Tim.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with the good folks at Jewel. You can now pick up the hot sauce in your neighborhood Jewel Osco store,
yes.
and I think that Christopher Walken might have to make an appearance as well. The tasting.
That's right. It won't be Stacey alone giving out autographs. I'll be there for a picture or 2, maybe a song and dance as well.
So look for information about Stacey appearing at a local Jewel Osco near you. Want to spread the word about how good the hot sauce is.
Yeah, tell them, Stace, about the tastings we're going to do with all the sauces.
Yeah, we met with Jewel today, and we came up with some different ideas. We're going to have a meet and greet where we'll be signing autographs to the hot sauce that people buy in store, and then on the other side we'll have a table set up for people who have never tasted it. We'll have an opportunity to taste the flavors that we bring, and they can taste it, and if they like it, you go grab it, which I know they will. So you might as well just go away and buy the bottle. And then on your way out, just grab a chip and eat it too, and go on out the door.
And Whispers, for folks who don't live in the Chicagoland area, like our guy Jimmy out in England, how can he get a bottle of hot sauce?
Just go to GimmeTheHotSauce.com and use the code King21 for 21% off your first order. Or you can use Walk-In Q or Walk-In Fire to get a free bottle with any order.
So is the accent on foo or fighters?
It's on fighters.
Ooh, fighters! Archie! Ah!
Hey, we're kind of flipping the calendar now. We mentioned Summer League is over. Most of the free agent business is done, and it's time for football to take center stage. Of course, the NFL is king when it comes to American sports. Everybody loves the NFL. First couple of teams have reported. Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets are going to be playing right away, featured in a national telecast at the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio. And the Bears, they report to Hallis Hall on Tuesday the 25th. Their first practice will be on the 26th. And Stacey, one thing I found interesting, Justin Fields was on a podcast earlier this week, and he was asked about the fact that Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer in the history of the franchise. And they asked him, do you think you can do it? And he goes, sure, I can do it. I can do it this year. You like that confidence in your starting quarterback. This has not been a team known for passing, but you bring in DJ Moore. You've got more depth at the tight end position with Robert Tonyan coming in. They're going to have a pretty versatile offense. It won't be just Justin Fields running for his life all the time this season.
Well, that kind of sounded like D Rose when he said, why can't I be the MVP?
Right.
And then he went out for the MVP.
Yeah.
So that's the start of legacies right there. And that kid believes in himself. He's done it before at the college level, high school level. So, why wouldn't he have that attitude? And he's got a plethora of weapons to throw. A lot of people don't expect a lot from this team this year, but I just have a feeling they're going to surprise a lot of people, because the objective should be win the division. Or be better than we were. Don't be bottom last. No, because they're better than that. There's only Detroit Lions is really, to me, the team to beat, in that division.
Right.
Minnesota's going to, losing their running back. That's a big blow. Kirk Cousins has been solid in that division, but how many weapons he got other than Justin Jefferson? You can double him. It's hard to double him. He's still going to get his stuff off. But, Green Bay, is Love ready to take over? Jordan Love, is he ready to be the man? Those are some huge shoes to fill. And the one thing, you go back to Green Bay when Brett Favre was there, those were some huge shoes to fill for Rodgers. But he walked out there. You had a great coach. You got a great offensive coordinator, put him in position to succeed. And what happens? The rest is history, Hall of Fame. So it's the same way with Justin Fields. He's out there. He's shown you he's dynamic. He's shown you he's able to make plays with his feet. Now he's got receivers. They're surrounding him with talented receivers. So now you give him a little time. He keeps his eyes up the field. Maybe he doesn't have to run as much. Now he's running, looking downfield, throws 50-yard bomb to somebody for a wide open touchdown because the receiver got open. He also still can run and put your defense at risk. So it's not like you can double any of those receivers outside to try to take somebody away, because that means you take somebody away from the middle of the field. That means linebackers have to stay home. That means the whole defense is basically compromised. So I expect a big year out of Justin.
And I think the defense is going to be a lot better this year, too. They brought in Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, veteran guys, very productive linebackers. And then the talk of some of the mini camps and the offseason work, their second-round draft pick out of Miami, a kid named Tyreke Stevenson's got good size as a corner. They think that he's going to be a real impact player on the defense. And as you know, Stacey, if you've got guys that can cover on the back end, you can make a lot of big plays on the defense and maybe set your offense up for some easy scoring opportunities.
Well, you know what? Whenever you get those Miami defensive backs, they've always had a history of really having good DBs. And so, from what I've read about the kid, he really loves to play. He's a student of the game. He wants to be great. He's not out there, I'm trying to be all saucy. He wants to be great. And he's got an opportunity. He may start off in a nickel situation, but I can see him quickly moving to a starter.
Yeah, the one area that they probably need to address, they don't really have that veteran edge pass rusher. There's a couple of guys still out there that they might be able to pursue, and it's not unheard of for a team to report to training camp and maybe add a guy before the first preseason game. The Bears still have money to spend under the cap, so they could be a team that still makes a move to get a pass rusher, which would really kind of complete that defensive unit.
Well, and in the NFL is a little bit different than NBA. Some big name could get cut.
Right.
That you can get on the cheap and bring them in and help you on that department. Because everybody needs a pass rusher. If you don't got, that's a premium position on the defensive end, is to get you an edge rusher. But you know how it is. You'll see some guy that's an all-pro guy. All of a sudden, the numbers don't work, and they decide to go with a younger guy. Next thing you know, guy is waived. So, you just got to – or you might find a needle in the haystack watching preseason games. Because I'm sure the Bears have people watching all games,
right,
picking up guys that may be, released, or some guys they may be able to get down the road. If someone's on a practice squad, they know that player. So you never know. You might be able to find a little diamond in the rough somewhere.
Yeah, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers with his new team, the New York Jets. I was watching some of the coverage on ESPN, and they showed him arriving at camp last year where he looked like Nick Cage. Remember he had the T-shirt and long hair, and he looked like coming off from the Con Air set. Yep. Now he showed up.
He looked like the massage therapist off of Couples Retreat. Did you ever see Couples Retreat? And he goes, oh, big muscles. And he always wore the Speedo.
Right.
That's what he looked. I was watching that movie the other night. I go, there's Aaron Rodgers.
Was that Frank Azaria?
No, Frank Azaria was in the other movie.
Oh yeah,
with Ben Stiller. The woman, his wife cheated on him on the honeymoon.
Life is like a hippopotamus. Yeah, that one.
And he was walking on the beach with no clothes on, and he walks over Ben Stiller and his junk's in his face, and he says, "Hey, I'm on the boat out there. If you want to go scuba diving," and he's like, "No, we're good." And then she goes, "No, let's go to scuba diving." So he lets her go. He goes, "I don't think I want to go. I'm scared of the water or whatever." So he lets his wife, Deborah Messer, I think that's her name.
Yeah,
he lets her go on the boat with Hank. And so she wasn't coming back fast enough, so he went to go get her, and he walks in on her, and the scuba diver is all just doing his business, baby. Oh, Lord.
Back to Rodgers, the AFC is loaded. There's so many good quarterbacks, so many good teams. The Jets kind of went for this all-or-nothing approach, bringing in a 39-year-old quarterback. Do you think the Jets will even make the playoffs this year, Stacey?
Hell yeah.
You do?
Hell yeah. Okay, because, they're in a division with Miami, New England,
Buffalo.
that division.
Buffalo, Josh Allen.
Buffalo. Well, Buffalo's the main team.
Yeah.
And you got to say Miami, based off of last year, they're the two top teams.
Right.
Okay. So now it's New York, and you got New England. New England is still trying to figure out is their quarterback situation settled? Is Mac Jones the guy? Their defense took a hit. They upgraded this year. They thought they were going to get the receiver from Phoenix. Not Devontae Adams, but what's the other one?
DeAndre Hopkins.
Hopkins with the big hands.
Yeah, he went to Tennessee.
They thought they were going to get him. He threw a curveball when he went to Tennessee. Yeah. It's like, oh, man. So, but the Jets, their defense was nasty last year, and they had a nice rusher, the Bryce Hall kid, who ended up hurting. I think he hurt his knee.
Yeah, he's supposed to be back. Yeah,
he's supposed to be back. They were trying to get Dalvin Cook, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Miami may get him, and that would make Miami even tougher. But Aaron Rodgers has still got it, and he got that young receiver for the Jets who he compared to Devontae Adams in the Raiders.
Yeah, Garrett
running
Wilson.
backs.
Garrett Wilson.
And Sauce Gardner. Those guys were rookies last year being starters, and they had really productive seasons. So now you put a veteran quarterback who knows how to win, because their quarterback they drafted out of BYU, Zach Wilson. I don't want to say he's a bust, Mark,
but he's pretty close.
I think the kid's
he's
talented.
Right there.
I think he's talented. I think he's one of these kids, like this younger generation, that wants to cut corners. They know they were good at one level. They don't feel like they have to work on their game, so they don't work on their game. They want to be gunslingers. He went out there throwing balls all over the place, and it cost him his job, not being prepared, mentally prepared. Now you're in the same quarterback room with a Hall of Famer. He's going to show you how to do it the right way. He's going to show you how to prepare. He's going to show you how to get out there and compete. So it's only going to help him later on. But at the same time, Aaron Rodgers still is a winner in this league. He's going to elevate your team to another level.
Dogs sound like
Tom Brady, what do you do in Tampa? So, same year, they started off slow. They went to the Super Bowl.
Your dogs sound hungry, Stacey. It must be dinner time at the King house.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's physical wrestling conversation over here right now. We're training. We're doing their training. So when somebody tries to walk into the crib, they're ready to go. This is their training. They do this every day, probably around 6 o'clock. This is their training session. Yeah. They only fight for about 15 minutes, and then they pass out.
My money's on Kobe.
Yeah, you're right on that one. but if you could actually see this fight right now, it's like Mutual Omaha Wild Kingdom. It's like two little lions, and they're going at it. That's one thing about bullies. They're like linebackers. When they hit head up and they're banging. I like to see it. I love these little dogs.
The breath, the meat farts. It's just got to be great.
Oh, yeah.
No, you know what? They don't do that anymore. I changed their diet. They're not eating raw anymore.
Oh, good.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie though, the dog farts still stink, but they're not as
lethal,
vile as the other ones we had.
Remember when they were in studio, Mark? We couldn't even finish the show.
It was.
You know what? It's easy to blame the dog, Tim, when you did it. Okay, so I'm not gonna let you keep putting the blame on my dogs because you were eating some kind of taco salad or something with black beans. So don't sit up here and try to blame my dog. I am not going to let you out my dogs.
Well, it was nice for the cover-ups. I will admit that.
They were puppies. Don't do that. Hey, guys, listen. The next time we see Tim, hey, you ever see that movie? What was that movie? What's that movie, Hollywood, with Brad Pitt? What was it called?
Sick Balls. Or you're talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time on Hollywood. Well, I've trained my dogs. When they see
sick
Tim,
balls.
a little red, sick balls, and they're going to jump up and bite him in the crotch.
So you got that to look
It's a whistle.
Yeah.
It's a whistle. No, okay, I mean, okay, you hear him?
Got excited.
They're ready.
Yeah, they're ready for
all right,
it,
boys.
Tim.
Hey, heel. No need, guys. Tim's not here yet. Oh, they see you on the screen.
We're going to take another quick time out. We're going to talk more about the Northwestern ongoing situation with the hazing scandal. And we'll also give you some recommendations on what to watch. We've been talking about that. We got some good ones for you. That's next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Hope you enjoyed our NFL talk. Now we'll talk a little college football. Unfortunately, it's not the action on the field. It's what's going on at Northwestern, and it continues to get worse. Tim, I know you've been following this story pretty closely. A number of players have retained counsel, filing lawsuits against the university, against Pat Fitzgerald and other personnel with the school, saying that they did not protect the student athletes. And this is a story that's not going to go away anytime soon. I just saw something. We are taping on a Thursday evening, saw a story from USA Today that said the associate head coach actually witnessed some of this hazing that was going on during the Camp Kenosha that they always have in preseason. And it just seems like every day brings new revelations. And it's going to be difficult to maintain the quality of the program. They're talking about building a new stadium, trying to compete against all these powerhouse teams in the Big Ten. And you're going to have players fleeing left and right in the transfer portal. I don't know what kind of team they're going to be able to field this season.
Yeah, can they hold on to anybody? And I don't know if Wannstedt could be the guy to do that, but I don't know if you heard Greenberg the other day on the radio talking about this as an alumni as well, and that I felt the same way as him. Will always bleed purple, and I'm sure Mike Wilbon, if we have him on again, would have the same sentiments. So I think they'll have still the support of the alumni and guys like Pat Ryan, who's supporting the building of that stadium. So, they'll rebuild. There's still going to be a lot of students that say, I'm an athlete, but I want a great education. And they'll still come to the city by the lake.
Well, Stacey, we've heard some of the details coming out. And now it's not just John Doe. It's players are coming in front of TV cameras and telling their own stories, telling tales of sexually toned hazing that's going on. And so many of this stories involve naked pull-ups and just dehumanizing type things that, for certain personalities, those could be experiences that could affect them the rest of their lives, not just during their football careers.
Well, I commend those young men for coming out and stepping out and having the strength to tell their story because, at first you were just getting player X, Y, right, and comments. And, I'm glad that they came out. They needed to put the face to it. They needed to be strong and stand up because, that's something that no one wants to let the world know what happened to them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a man, as a guy, we're all masculine. You know what I'm saying? We have this ego that we're, especially sports guys. Like that just doesn't go on. Like I've never been part of a locker room I've ever played in where guys did that. Like there's guys that put, itching powder in your jock, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay, we can deal with that. I got to walk around scratching myself for 3 hours in practice and I didn't even know it was in there. But they do that kind of stuff. Kicking the balls up in the stands, freshmen go get it, but but this demasculizing people and sexually, basically that's sexual assault.
Right.
You're sexually assaulting someone, and
Well, the human
to
car
do
wash
it,
was utterly bizarre. But some
I
other
mean,
people said it didn't happen.
what does
so I
that
don't know.
say about your team? What does that say about your coaches if you got those kind of players that are going to be imposing their will on people they look at as being beneath them? You got leaders on that team. Where are the leaders? Where are the captains of the team? You're giving the C on that team to help in the locker room when the coaches can't be there. So where were those guys? Those upperclassmen who are leaders? Where are those guys? You're in a school where it's basically, you're there as a leader. You know what I'm saying? You're there to get an education. You're the future of generations. You're there for a reason. Where are the leaders? Where are the assistant coaches? Where's the trainer? Where's the equipment managers? Where are all these people? Because there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes of college athletics. There's a lot of people involved. It's not just a bunch of kids running around. There's trainers. There's tons of trainers because when you got a big program, you probably got about 10, 12 trainers. You got the equipment manager. You got assistant coaches. You got graduate assistants. Where are these people? So you can't tell me Pat Fitzgerald did not know what's going on, because a graduate assistant could come up to him and say, "Hey, Coach Fitzgerald, they're really doing some weird stuff in that locker room. You need to take a look at it. They're really doing some stuff that I don't think you would approve of." Come on, man. Is this another Penn State situation where coaches knew and then turn a blind eye? Like, okay, he's my friend. This is my guy. I've known him for 30 years. I'm not going to say anything to him. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. And it's an embarrassment to Northwestern, because Northwestern is looked at as being one of the best educational institutions in the country. Forget sports. They don't care about sports, okay? The education value you get there is better than most schools in this country. So to see that happen at the university, that's a black eye. And it may take a while for them to recover from this, especially with social media and all the stuff that you have now. Man, boy, the president's going to get involved. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to answer for this.
Yeah, and now we're hearing reports that this culture of hazing goes back to the late 1990s and early 2000s when Randy Walker was the head coach. And, of course, Pat Fitzgerald played for Gary Barnett when they went to the Rose Bowl in the mid-90s, and he was later an assistant coach on the staff of Randy Walker. And I know from talking to Fitz, he idolized Coach Walk, who tragically passed away, before a football season at a very young age. And then Fitz stepped in and took over the program, but to hear that this may have gone back to the late 1990s unchecked and just getting stronger and stronger and becoming a fabric of the program is terrifying.
Bizarre. And it could be just the cap coming off here. Other programs start to unravel here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a trickle-down effect to the rest of the universities, because this is an eyesore. So if it's going on in Northwestern, believe me, it's going on in other universities. They're just not hearing about it. And it's gonna draw more attention, because now you're gonna see other kids from different programs step up and say, "Hey, that happened to us. Tell me that's not gonna happen." It's gonna happen. So I think the NCAA got to prepare themselves, because this might open up a Pandora's box. It's not just happening in women's gymnastics. The women's gymnastics only happen to women. It's happening to guys too. And so this has opened up the eyes of probably the NCAA, parents, because I said it last week. How do you, if I got a son going to play football, I'm trusting the University of Northwestern, I'm trusting Pat Fitzgerald and the coaching staff to take care of my son. I don't care. Of course I want him to play, but I want him to be a man. I want him to graduate. I want him to walk out of there with a degree. I want him to walk out there a better man than when he came in. He came in as a boy. I want him to come out as a man. And you think about those kids that were violated. How do their parents feel? How do those kids feel? And now their faces out there. So they're going to get ridiculed. Not only are you going to get support, because it's going to be a double-edged sword. They're going to get support from people, and there's going to be people who are ignorant and stupid, and they're going to make lewd comments to these guys and blame them for what happened and call them all kind of names. Man, that's some tough stuff to go through for a young man to have to go through. It's tough. And I commend those guys for doing what they're doing. They're very strong young men, and they bonded together throughout this. And, now they opened up the eyes to the NCAA to say, hey, maybe there's other programs like this and they're doing this. So if this stops other programs from doing it, great.
Yeah, Tim mentioned Dave Wannstedt earlier as we started this discussion, and Dave Wannstedt was approached by Northwestern, taking a role within the football program, serving as kind of a senior consultant to try to help out the interim head coach, and Dave decided not to take that opportunity, obviously not feeling comfortable with what's going on there, and you can certainly understand it. Dave coached at Miami, he coached at Pittsburgh on the college level, and he didn't want to be involved in any way, shape, or form with that. We had Dave as a guest on the show about 6 weeks ago, so we encourage you to check that out. It was a really interesting conversation with Dave Wannstedt. We're going to switch gears a little bit to have a little bit of fun at the end of the show, talk about some of the things we've been watching. And this week's What Are We Watching is sponsored by Biggers Mazda. Their sizzling new Elgin location at Randall Road is the biggest Mazda store in Illinois. Biggers is offering a bottle of Stacey's signature hot sauce with first test drives of new or pre-owned vehicles. It's your choice, everything from the coolest SUVs to the stunning Miata. So join the fun at 2100 Randall Road in Elgin. It's Biggers Mazda. Cisco, you been back to take a test drive? Yeah. Did you get your hot sauce?
Every week.
Every week. He comes with a different hat on, a different tight shirt.
He's got a nice shirt on today.
Yeah, he's went Hawaiian.
Let me see. Can we flash it over there?
Aren't those marijuana plants? What has he got going on there?
Best part is we pulled in early today.
Yeah.
And Cisco pulled in. Rich gets out and slaps his window.
Oh, there he is. Look at that shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby. Last time I saw that shirt was on Ricky Ricardo.
He's like, who's that?
Cisco's always a good sport, part of the Sriracha crew.
That's my guy.
Nice
That's
job
my
for
guy.
us. All right, so let's talk about things we're watching. I'll start it off this week. Jack Ryan came to a close. The fourth season. Did you finish it up, Tim?
No, I'm still in the first season.
The funny thing is about Jack Ryan, of course, the lead character is John Krasinski.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Played Jim in The Office. So now he's almost like a James Bond character, as a
yeah.
CIA
He's also in
operative.
13 Hours.
Yeah.
Did you see 13 Hours?
Yeah, he was great in that.
But every time
He was great in that.
Every time you see John Krasinski, you expect him to make that look right at the camera and smirk, during this high-powered pursuit of criminals, That'd be hilarious if he had done that.
Just
at some
do it
point,
once.
He's firing a gun and he just looks at the camera and smirks.
Yeah.
That'd have been a great take. The other thing I've been watching, Stacey, you might be interested in checking this out. There's a 3-part documentary on Showtime called Goliath about the life of Wilt Chamberlain. And because Wilt played before the advent of, every game on television. It was an 8-team league when he and Bill Russell were going to battle. People don't know much about Wilt Chamberlain other about the fact that he supposedly said he bedded 25,000 women.
He was the original John Holmes.
But Wilt Chamberlain was a guy who ran track in college. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters. He was, people talk about Victor Wembanyama and all of his great physical attributes. Wilt Chamberlain was a freak of nature, Stacey.
Complete freak.
Yes.
Maybe freak's the wrong word to use.
Yeah, no, wrong word to use.
He was freaky.
He was freaking. He was a freaking great athlete. How many times can we use the word, make up a different word for freaking with Wilt Chamberlain involved? No, but seriously though, he was a tremendous athlete. He not only he ran track, he did high jump, long jump. I think he dabbled in boxing.
And he's in another professional. He's in 2 Hall of Fames. He's also in the Volleyball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so
yes, he was All-American volleyball player. Like, he was an extraordinary dude, man, and probably passed away too soon. But man, I mean, when you talk about great players, you talk about guys who changed the game. And they widened the lane out from him. They had the rule he couldn't dunk because he was so dominant. Just so many. And then he has a record because we see all the records that have been there now. We're like, oh, they'll never be broken. They're breaking the records now. All the guys are breaking the records now. But ain't nobody breaking that 105 or was it 101, 105? What is it? 101
100.
100.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody breaking that.
No chance.
Ain't nobody breaking that.
Yeah.
Kobe was the closest. 80, I think 81.
81, yeah. When people come up with these all-time greatest lists, they always leave Wilt Chamberlain off. And if you go back and do your homework and look at his numbers and look at some of the old footage, this guy just towered over people.
He also had a 48-inch vertical at that height.
He was just incredible. I mean, when you look at the documentary and the video of him just dunking over the top of these people, he's just so much
Did they show
taller.
Arnold talking about lifting with him? What he bench press?
He's got to be considered. He's got to be considered like one of the greatest players of all time. Like his name's got to be in that GOAT discussion. And I know a lot of people, this generation probably never seen him. Never saw what kind of. But if they did a really good documentary on it and just on his play and how he changed the game and what rules were in place before he came, and then what rules were changed after, he would get the credit he deserves. I mean. Same thing with, there's a lot of guys during those years. Oscar Robertson, averaging a triple-double in the whole year. Now we've seen Russell do it, but that was a record that stood for a long, long time. And, plus he was an actor. He was a bodybuilder. Like there were so many,
Conan the
not to
Barbarian.
mention he was the movie, The Ladies Man, I think was created for him. But it was what's the guy's name? Tim
Meadows.
Tim Meadows. He was too short.
Yeah.
They should have had a tall guy. They should have went and got probably get somebody like 7 feet tall to be the ladies' man.
Yeah.
Because the stories he did is legendary.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time in the documentary talking about his exploits with women, and a lot of the women were interviewed during the piece. So it was fun. It was a fun watch. Cool. Whispers, what do you got for the folks this week?
I've been watching Quarterback.
Yeah,
which is
that looks
a documentary. It's very well done, and it's perspective of 3 totally different types of quarterbacks in 3 different situations and where they are in their careers. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is going to look great, but what's interesting is Kirk Cousins comes across very, very well, and all 3 of them, the amount of
You
prep
like
work.
that? You like that?
You like that?
How you like that?
Yeah, when
they play that clip in there?
They showed how that came about
okay.
when he came in for RG3 and wins this comeback game and running past the cameras. You like that? And then people started wearing the shirts and stuff. But his prep work and what he goes through and then playing hurt, I had a whole new respect for him. So it's well done. And then after that, Fubar.
Yeah, I watched that.
No! Yeah, it's great. Arnold's a CIA agent with his daughter.
Relationship angle. It was good. They did a nice job with it. There was some good laughs in there, too.
The comedian, the chubby lesbian girl, she just kills me.
Right.
She is so funny. Her comments.
Who?
I can't remember her name offhand. She's a stand-up comedian, but she does a lot of acting stuff, too. But he's just great at delivering the right lines, and especially with Arnold. And he does his classic lines like, electrocute somebody and say, "Oh, you look shocked to see me."
Yeah, so both the Quarterback documentary and Fubar, you can find those on Netflix.
Check them out.
Stacey, what you got for us?
You know what? I've gone back and went back to the blast from the past. I decided to watch Boardwalk and see my man Nucky Thompson, that is if you have not seen Boardwalk America, make sure you check it out. That and The Sopranos were 2 of the HBO and The Wire. Those 3 shows are like just unbelievable shows. So I went back and watched that. I finished it up yesterday, and my favorite character, is Chalky White.
Yeah,
that's my guy. Richard Harrell, the guy with the part mask. Part face, and then Tim's character, Nucky Thompson.
Okay. That's
Steve Buscemi. Steve Buscemi. Yeah, that's him. That's Tim. Tim and Steve Buscemi. Yeah.
A man of many
little
talents.
Weasel.
Yeah.
Little weasel.
Little weasel.
He's a little weasel.
Guy ran an empire. So you got that part right.
You got it at the end. You got it at the end, brother. It wasn't the same empire.
Well, that's what happens.
Hey, I understand
you get greedy.
You saw our buddy Mike earlier this week. How's Mike doing?
Oh, baby. Mike is back, baby. Mike, hey, listen. Shout out to Mike. He went all the way to London to see the boss and then see Billy Joel. They're both playing together because they're friends. Mike's back went out, okay? His back went out. He couldn't go to the concert. He had to stay in his hotel room.
Was that the Doubleman twins that did it to him?
No, you know what? I told him to stop trying to be so freaky and swinging from chandeliers and then trying to do a dismount, okay? And his back went out. And I feel bad for him because he's a big Bruce Springsteen fan, and to go all the way over the pond to catch him on a show, and then get your back go out, and he flew business class, so he didn't like he was flying down there with the monkeys and the dogs and stuff. He had a good seat, Mark.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Mike and the Money Boy. Mike, I call him Money Mike because he got money. So his back went out, didn't get to see it. Flew back home. His back is better now, and so we'll be back. Both of us will be back next week. I'll be back in the studio, baby.
And you've been giving our audio guy, Ben, a ride, and he took the train. He got stuck on the tracks in Arlington Heights. We had to go rescue him.
Listen, you know what? Ben, that's my boy, man.
Yeah.
I felt bad about that today. We had to send out a search party to go get him.
That's right. Send a posse out there.
Ben threw up his little Batman signal with his face on it, and we saw it, and we had to go pick him up. So we're glad he got there, because if he's not there, baby, the sound ain't working.
Yeah, because he'll be getting the charter limousine service next week with Micah.
Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Ben, his twin, and Oklahoma State Cowboys, who suck.
Yeah, we had John Starks on last week. If you haven't checked out that episode, make sure you do, because Stacey and Starks were going at it. Starks was still making excuses about the '93 Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks were up 2-0. They choked it away, and he blamed it on TV and changing the schedule of the games. That was one of the weakest arguments I've ever heard.
That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Because I was like, is he really going to make that excuse? like they changed the schedule to help us?
Yeah.
Like, dude. Okay, let's say they did. Okay, let's just say they did that.
That's set months in advance.
Okay, but you were up 2-0. You dominated us 2-0. So you got all the confidence in the world. You beat us in Chicago that year. So you got all the confidence in the world. I know they were talking, trash. Like, move it back 2 weeks. We're still going to give it to you. I know they were talking trash, okay? So then you come to Chicago, and we just pulled your pants down and smacked you in your butt. Okay, we go back. We
can't
go
say
back.
that these days.
Hey, well, yeah, you can. No, I take that back. Well, we open a can of whoop ass. So we dominate you in Chicago. We go back. We go back to New York, and you guys have Game 5 at home. You got at least 2 games at home. It's the best of 3 now. Your boy Charles Smith, who's a friend of mine, missed 18 layups. I'm telling you, hey. We was beating that shot up like Michael Jackson's Beat It. Beat it. Just beat it, okay? We win the game, and Mark, when I tell you, you could have heard a pin drop.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't hear nobody talking. All you heard was us yelling, we won, it's over, the series is over. And all the New York fans, they were sounding like they just, the gas is out of it. So then they come back to Chicago. They have a good start in the first quarter. We let them think they were going to win, and then we put the hammer on them, and that was the end. Okay?
Yeah.
And the only reason why they got to the finals against a bad call on Scottie Pippen, Hugh Hollins, the phantom foul on Hubert Davis, that was the only reason why they got to the finals, and MJ wasn't on that team. Because nobody ate when MJ was playing. Okay?
Yeah.
His plate was always full. You couldn't come to our table and say, hey, you think I can get a chicken wing? No, you're not eating tonight. Go to your room. That's how much we dominated the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference.
Yeah, and when I went back and listened to the show, Starks started to say that Charles Smith was fouled, and then he caught himself. Even he couldn't say that Charles Smith was fouled.
There was no foul. There was no fouls. Listen, I like Charles, but he pressure burst pipes.
Yeah.
In that situation, you got a chance to win the game.
Right.
And you got a bunch of Dobermans on your ass. And we hacking, we smacking, we slapping everything. You got Scottie Pippen out there like an octopus with like 8 arms.
Horace
smacking
Grant,
the balls. Yeah. And then you got MJ. I mean, come on, dude. Horace Grant, no, it ain't happening.
And that's when that guy in his boat from Chicago went by and just about capsized.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So, go back and check it out.
There might have been Michael Jordan on his boat. He might have tried to sink
it. Might have been Jordan.
Yeah.
His yacht.
So Stacey's working on some great guests coming up. We're not going to give you the list right now, but he's got some A-list people coming up late July, early August, and we're looking forward to doing those shows. Before long, it'll be time for basketball training camp again, and we'll keep you entertained throughout the summer. We're going to be talking a lot of football because we're all optimistic about the Bears have going as they get ready for training camp. And Stacey's got some basketball guys lined up as well. So make sure you always check us out, the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast, and brand new show coming out every week. Tim, you want to read the Windy City Limousine ad? Tell the folks how they can get their ride? Because he does such a good job on these, Stacey.
Yeah,
That's
here we go.
Go ahead, man.
Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making reservations so easy. It's a slam dunk. Okay. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get to your destination in style and on time. Contact us 847-916-9300. I won't say 9300 again because Mark will break down that number for me. That's 847-916-9300.
Nice.
That was much better.
Yeah.
That was the energy and the effort was there. If I was going to rate that between 0 being the worst and 10 being the best, I'm rating that a -5.
Well, I took a YouTube
it's
class.
Below a 0.
Hey, it's quiet in your house now. The dog's sleeping again?
I told you.
The fight is
they
over.
Fight for about 15 minutes.
It's over.
They
They're
train.
done. Yeah.
They train 15 minutes hard, and then they pass out.
All right.
That's Bulldog for you.
Hey, Stacey, we're glad that you look great. You're feeling good. We look forward to having you back in studio real soon.
Looking forward to it, boys. I'll see y'all next week.
Stacey King, the star of the show on Gimme the Hot Sauce. I want to thank the Sriracha crew for their hard efforts coming in today, the great work they're doing, and a brand new show coming at you next week. So time to play us out, man. Stacey.
Oh my goodness! It's only preseason, but
Drive home safely.
Drive home safely, Chicago, BB.
Get buckets! Oh my goodness! Give me the hot sauce, Bill Thump! Give me the hot sauce!
What are you doing, Dragic? Did you not get the memo? Derrick Rose can go upstairs.
Let me step back and kiss myself. MVP time! Windy City Assassin.